So it's been about a year since the Apple Watch Ultra came out. I got mine at launch. I fell in love with it pretty much immediately. In my opinion, it's by far the most interesting product Apple released last year. But now that we're 1 year later, I want to talk to you guys about how the Apple Watch Ultra actually held up, whether you should buy one, and even if the answer is yes, should you buy one right now, or should you wait for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 to come out in perhaps a couple of weeks? Let's ramble.
Hold up, things go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it once.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again, and if you're new here, I'm Patrick, and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that last year was a pretty dull year in terms of Apple releases. Most products were just iterative updates, iPhones look and feel the same, iPads look and feel the same, but there was one product that got such a substantial update that it felt like an entirely new product, and that was the Apple Watch Ultra. Yes, it was marketed at divers, mountaineers, and other ultra-active humans. I'm none of those things, and the gym is pretty much as far as it goes for me in terms of physical exercise. Yet, when I saw the Apple Watch Ultra, I just had to have it, and as it turns out, I was not the only one, and the Ultra became a smash hit. I do have a theory about how Apple got us all to buy this watch, precisely by marketing it as something none of us need. I won't go into detail about that now, but I did do a separate video about that. I'll link to that video at the end of this one. Anyway, as you can see, I'm still wearing it today, and I have worn it pretty much every day since it came out. I did take it off for about 2 weeks in order to review the Samsung Galaxy Watch Classic, but all that did, and this is probably going to piss off some of my Android peeps, and I apologize in advance, but all that did was make me realize exactly how good the Apple Watch Ultra is. Now that does not mean it doesn't have any flaws. It certainly does. But let's first talk about some of the things I really like about this watch, then I'll tell you some of the things I don't like so much, and then I'll give you my thoughts on whether it's still a good idea to buy this thing today. Right, so the first big plus for me is the design. I think it's the best looking Apple Watch ever made, dare I say even the best looking smartwatch ever made. The titanium case, the flat sapphire glass, the big crown, and that bright orange action button, I'm here for it. I know some people find the Apple Watch Ultra way too big, and I get it. If you have small wrists, this might not be a great look, but I do have fairly large wrists, and to me the size is one of the main advantages because it allows for this beautiful large display that looks super crispy with its whopping 2000 nits. It is ultra bright, pun intended, so you can use it comfortably even on the brightest days. The size also makes it much more appealing to use the Ultra as a standalone watch. When I was wearing smaller Apple Watches like the Apple Watch SE, I would use them mainly as notification machines and MacBook companions. Whenever I would get a notification, I would immediately pull out my phone to see what's up. With the Apple Watch Ultra, most of the time I'll just leave my phone in my pocket because it's very easy to read messages, and even answering short messages is fairly easy on the larger keyboard. The same goes for calls. I never really took calls on my Apple Watch before, but because both the mics and the speakers have been improved by a lot, I have no problem taking calls straight from the watch, even when I'm outside. Those of you who saw my initial review may remember the little test call I did with my buddy Mark Ellis. It sounded beautifully on both ends. When I do pull out my phone, you can be sure that it's rocking one of my K-Scoo cases, and thank you very much to K-Scoo for being a channel partner and for supporting this video. K-Scoo makes great looking cases for iPhones in all sorts of colors and variations. Definitely my favorite case is the K-Scoo Magic Stand series. Not only do these cases look super sleek, like this clean looking frosted case, this ring is also super useful as a stand, so you don't have to look for stuff to prop up your phone all the time. And because the ring is filled with 48 strong magnets, it actually makes the MagSafe experience even better. And when you're done using it, the ring folds back completely flush with the case. Best part about these cases is they don't break the bank, so definitely check them out. There's a link in the description. Anyway, back to the large display. I love using Spotify on my watch, or at least to use it as a remote. I've got my little to-do list app TickTick right here on the watch face, so I can quickly add some to-dos or mark them as complete. I even use my watch to open my doors, both my front door and my car door. I just love little nerdy features like that. And of course, there's my favorite foul-mouthing weather app of all time, Carrot Weather, which is always good for a giggle. I have all my accounts linked to my Apple Wallet as well, so 9 out of 10 times I'll pay using my watch, and I will use it for things like boarding passes as well. Now, because the screen is so much bigger and so much brighter, you can even watch YouTube videos on it using this really cool third-party app or play little games when you're waiting somewhere. One of the features I never thought I would use, but that I actually use all the time, is the flashlight. Sometimes when I'm traveling, it's dark when I leave the house in the morning and it's dark when I return. And because this display is now a whopping 2000 nits, this flashlight is no joke. Really super useful for those situations where you can't see a thing, like finding a keyhole or when you've dropped something on the floor in the dark. Another thing that I actually ended up using all the time is this Find My Phone button that makes your phone ring once, which is super useful if you're a scatterbrain like me. Probably my favorite use case for this Apple Watch is the gym. I've set the orange action button to start a weightlifting workout, my AirPods Pro are paired to the watch so I can listen to music without needing my phone, and if I do get an important phone call, I can just take it on my watch, and that means my phone stays in the car, which really helps me focus on my workouts, no more scrolling social media between sets. Now I can do all these things without having to worry about the battery life because the battery on the Ultra is far better than the other models. I really love the sleep tracking feature on the Apple Watches, but I never used it on my previous watches because my battery would barely make it through the day, let alone survive a night. The Ultra will go through a heavy day of usage, a night of sleep tracking, and still have enough juice left in the morning to last another day or so. The watch is totally waterproof, I wear it all the time when I take my daughter swimming, and I love the neat little features like the automatic depth sensor that kicks in as soon as the watch is submerged. And finally, a very big advantage of the Apple Watch is that it's freaking indestructible. I wear this thing 24/7, I've worn it during renovations, at festivals, you name it, and while the watch bands can start looking pretty grimy and banged up over time, the watch itself still looks absolutely pristine. Speaking of watch bands, this brings me to the first downside of the Ultra. Apple only created a very limited number of dedicated watch bands for the Apple Watch Ultra. It's pretty much the Trail Loop, the Alpine Loop, or the Ocean Band. I do love wearing my Midnight Ocean Band. It is water and sweat proof, so it's perfect for the gym or swimming, but it doesn't exactly look very elegant. Thankfully, there are plenty of third-party bands. I did a separate video on what I consider to be the best bands for the Apple Watch Ultra, but my two favorite ones are this stylish leather band by Harper London and my absolute favorite that I wear almost every day that I'm actually wearing right now, this titanium band by Sandmark. It fits virtually any occasion and it just looks perfect on the Ultra. I'll put links to both of these bands below the video, and I think the Sandmark one even comes with a discount code. Another downside is that despite the battery being far superior over the other Apple Watches, it does deteriorate over time. It's a bit weird because when I go into the settings, it will show 100% battery health, but I guarantee you that I definitely no longer get the 3.5 days of battery life that I got in the first month or two. Now again, it is still the best battery on an Apple Watch, even with the reduction over time, but it is something to keep in mind, especially if you're thinking about buying an Apple Watch Ultra used. Another small nuisance is that I do get accidental presses. Now, that might have to do with my freak wrists. Because of the shape of my forearms, my watch sits really low on my wrist, very close to my hand, so every now and then I'll hit a button accidentally. Also, I wish I could charge the Apple Watch on any wireless charger, not just the Apple one. Not only is it annoying to have to carry around a proprietary cable for all your devices, the Apple Watch Ultra actually needs the fast charging one that comes with it. You'll notice that it will charge extremely slowly if you use an older Apple Watch charger. And it also means that a lot of 2 or 3-in-1 chargers by third parties won't charge the Ultra fast enough. Some brands like ESR have found a very clever solution by leaving the Apple Watch charging part on their 3-in-1 empty, so you can slot in your own fast charger. And that's why this charger is currently my personal favorite, but yeah, I would prefer to be able to use any Qi charger for this. Lastly, while this watch can be used as a standalone device, it is not technically autonomous. Your main SIM card will have to be in your iPhone, or the eSIM in your Apple Watch won't work. As a tech reviewer, I switch out my SIM cards all the time when I'm reviewing phones, like my recent reviews of the Galaxy Z Fold 5 or the Z Flip. And when the SIM is in one of those phones, my Apple Watch will not have its own data connection for calls and other features. I guess it makes sense from an Apple perspective. They obviously don't want us to ditch the iPhone and get the watch only, but to me as a user, it's just super annoying. So now the big question, should you still buy the Apple Watch Ultra today? Well, yes and no. Let me explain. Yes, because despite the shortcomings I just mentioned, it is still an amazing watch. It's the best smartwatch out there in my opinion, and I would still recommend it to most people. You can find it used for $500 to $600, which is a great deal. Just remember what I said about the battery life. And no, you shouldn't buy it if you're looking to buy it new, because there is a very good chance of an updated Apple Watch Ultra being announced at the September Apple event, which might stay the same in price. So definitely wait in that case. And even if you're in the market for a used model, maybe still wait until the Apple event as well, since a lot more used models might become available for users that are looking to upgrade to the newer model, which could of course lead to prices dropping even further on the used market. Alright guys, those are my 2 cents. If you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these. It really does go a long way. Subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and stick around for some links to videos you might also want to watch.